I need number 5 and 6.
Here you go.
Thanks. All right. Let me read the Western Union Telegram, if I may. It just arrived this morning. Dear Cathy, stop. I hope you have a really shitty time at your event today. Stop. Please stop referring to me as Jabba the Hutt. Stop. Oh, and remember, in case anyone asks, I'm not you, okay? With hate, the Nick Meister. P.S. Your identical cousin Patty says howdy. So, it's kind of sad, but we know it's just your brain chemistry talking. You can't help it, and we're here with you to hold your hand en route to sanity. It's what we do, and there is, after all, a little Nicky Fink in all of us, which is why so many of us insist on regular colonials. But in conclusion, let me just say that I forgive you for being Republican. I tell everybody how spectacular you are. There's just this one little blind spot. It's a little bit like going on a blind date and saying she's perfect except for those third-degree burns over 95% of her body. Seriously though, I hope you know how much I adore you. You're the most talented and entertaining journalist I've ever known. It's true. And right up there with the finest human beings as well. I think you've trashed every journalist in LA except me, to whom you've been ridiculously kind and generous. And not to raise the C word again on such an otherwise lovely day, but I can't imagine someone handling such a never-ending cancer travail with as much grace and determination and fight as you've demonstrated. I'm honored that you're my friend, and that I'm here with you today to be part of such a long overdue tribute. No one deserves it more, except maybe Nicky Finn. But I love you.
Pulled the tear out right at the 11th hour. Thank you, Ray. And now, oh yes, I know who's next. We could have carpooled in today from the Valley. Please welcome my good longtime friend and Cathy Seipp, Ross Johnson.
Hey, let's hear it for Ray. And your 12-year-old tranny hooker is in green trio. This is the JT Leroy Hotel, and I'm proud to be here. Also proud to be here with a lot of distinguished Russians. Luke Ford. Now, Luke, don't smile too much, because every time you do, I see John Benet's Ramsey's DNA record. Oh! That's me. I'm sorry, because Luke is I respect him, and how messed up is that? Sandra Singh Lowe will be here later. Now, some of you may know her as a distinguished monologist, radio personality, very, very good authoress, Van Nuys slumlord. Back in the day at Buzz Magazine, we knew her as Mama Son. Now,
yeah, we did, didn't we?
we did. Now, I must say that I do miss getting up at 6 in the morning to hear you say 5. Okay, Sarah. Okay, Sarah. But I must say that Ruth Seymour and I go way back.
I've heard.
Yes. I used to get blowjobs from her.
Yeah.
I had an extra $5, and it was a slow Thursday on the pledge drive. Now, Alan Merritt. Good dude. Great Los Angeles Magazine editor. Which right away is a contradiction in terms. Al is now at a crisis communications firm, Sitch and Company. And what is crisis in Los Angeles? Well, it's Halle Berry in Kind of Wolf Park. Now, you gotta hand it to Citric and Ron Burkle. Citric. Burkle comes in and says, "Look, I got $1 million. Let's kick the shit out of journalists." Citric goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's start with Bob Ward." Citric goes, No. For $1 million, you get Jared Paul Stern." Where's Amy Alcott? I know. I love Amy. And one thing I love about Amy is that she hates SUVs. But why is she banging a guy from Detroit? What's up with that? Which brings us to the reason we're here. Miss Cathy Seipp. Now, some of you may know her as, someone who stands up for justice and truth in the American way. Great mother, great daughter, so-so wife. But to me, you'll always be Fire Coach. No, I must tell you a true story. Back in 2002, I called up Cathy and said, look, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown. This could be it. Cathy goes, why do I get this call 3 times a week from these people I know? I mean, for once, I'd like to have someone call me up and say they just made $60 million in a hedge fund deal, and they're going to give me $1 million. But Cathy, being Cathy, said, look, I just had a bad medical diagnosis, and they gave me some antidepressants, and I don't need them. Would you like to have them? And I thought, I can't take someone else's antidepressants. She said, well, do the math. I mean, they're the good stuff. Save your $30 on your insurance copay. And I did the math, and it saved my life because it bought me 6 blowjobs from Bruce Seymour. And for that, I'll always love you, kid.
And now we toss again to video.
One of the worst things that I saw Cathy write, and it's very classic Cathy Seipp, was that in Los Angeles, it's not only unnecessary to learn Spanish, but it's not useful, which I think is a special secret kind of mind to come up with the idea that there's absolutely no use in being able to speak the language that 2/3 of the residents of the city speak fluently.
And on that warm note, let's bring up Cathy's dad, Harvey, a man who knows his way around tile. You need some tiling. Harvey's a genius.
I didn't know I was going to speak, and my daughter became a Republican, and then as I lived under her house and the father's Untermenschen, I thought she was not only Republican but a puritanical Republican. She knows Luke Ford, and now I'm hearing this other wonderful language, so I just see that you don't know your daughter who lives upstairs. I'm reminded of a number of things. I have some fairly good upper teeth, but they're not natural. The reason is, when Cathy was 2, she was wanting to learn how to roller skate. And I didn't know her native streak of independence at that time, so I was leaning over her, trying to show her how to lace up her skates. Now that's an offense with Cathy. She does everything by herself. So she said, do by self, I remember that, and kicked me in the teeth with a roller skate. I remember before oil was such a big issue, we lived in Vancouver, Canada, and we were driving around. I think she was 1.5 or 2. Probably her mother's here, she knows. But she started saying things like S.O., and I didn't know what that means, like shit off, or she's Republican, and also Puritan, that couldn't be true. But she was learning she taught herself to read off the oil signs. It was S.O. was Standard Oil up in Canada. So I was quite impressed with that. I wish she told me to buy some stocks, but she didn't. When you live